Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video, and on this tutorial we're going to make the tapestry bracelet, and I posted this on Facebook and I know many of you on Facebook really liked it, and so I'm going to do the tutorial for it now. A couple of things before we start. I'm going to take it off. So before I take it off, it's got these brick stitch endings, and then in the middle it's got a lot of strands of different strands of different colored fire polished bicone and 11 seed beads. So the reason I pulled out Day to Night is it's the exact same bracelet as Day to Night. It's just different in the middle. So remember Day to Night if you did it. We've got the brick stitch ends here, 2 brick stitch ends, and in the middle we did herringbone. So we're sort of deconstructing this in a way. Instead we're doing the 2 brick stitch ends, but we're making it loose in the middle. So instead of doing herringbone, we're just going to we're going to string on some really pretty seed beads and crystals and such to make it, just to give it some, some real interest. So this is a really fun bracelet to make. You can make, it just requires seed beads and some fire polish or bicones or any beads you want. You can put any bead in the middle here. I'm just giving you what I like, but you can change this up. You can put bigger, smaller. You can use Toho seed beads. It might be a good place to use those Tohos that you have and you don't know what to do with them and you're like, well, nobody uses Tohos. You could make this with Tohos. You just have to adjust the sizes of the amounts of beads you put on. But it's a very forgiving bracelet. We're going to deconstruct it and make it in pieces. So, if you made this is going to be a lot easier. But it's the same principle as this one. We're not going to put this loop here. I'm putting a loop at the end and a crystal at the other end. But you can make any closure you want. So think Day to Night and think, gee, I've made this already. It's just another version. Isn't it amazing how you can take, here, I'll twist that one around too. How you can take a version of something and make it into something totally different. All right, so just wanted to give you a heads up on that in case you looked at it and said, that looks hard. It isn't, it's Day to Night. Just a little deconstructed. We could call it Day to Night deconstructed, but I like tapestry bracelet better. So anyway, it's to go with the tapestry ring, and I love that combination of colors. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the 2 ends right here. So here it is. I'm going to just put it out. And these, I know I'm always going off track, but these center strands can be all the same size. I was experimenting and I made the 2 outer strands shorter because I thought it would wrap better. So you see how, the middle is a little bit bigger. They're not all going to be perfectly the same size. They're just not, because seed beads are not the same size. But it doesn't really matter because others that other samples that I made that I'm not going to put out because it didn't finish, you can, they can be close to the same size and it doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure this bracelet and we're going to make each separate piece separately. So before we go on, forgive me, I'm losing my voice. I've been fighting, some sort of cold, hopefully not the flu, but I am losing my voice. My voice is very throaty. I asked my husband is it sexier? And he said, no, you sound like a frog. So anyway, the reason I sound like a frog is because I'm losing my voice. And hopefully I won't lose it completely. So instead of talking, let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make these 2 ends. And, excuse me. So the 2 ends are going to be brick stitch. Oh, and I just messed up my nice little beads. And they're little pieces, just like on Day to Night, see, that are going to go right here. So that goes up there. So we're going to make 2 of those, and we're going to do it in ladder stitch and brick stitch. And then we're going to make, we're going to make it 12 beads long, and we're going to alternate colors, and we'll get to that. I'm just showing you the sort of the architecture of it, the way you're putting it together. Then we're going to make 4 strands in specific colors, and then we're going to change, and they're all going to they're going to match the brick stitch on the bracelet. So you're making 4 strands of each, and that's going to be 12 strands. So you have 4, 3 sets of 4 strands. Then you've got a purple one, so I've got 4 there, and then I've got the This is the multicolored one, and I've got that there. Then we're just going to sew them to either end. And it's going to be very easy to size because the clasp that I put on is 2 inches. So you're just going to you know, get your bracelet size and just take 2 inches off, and that's going to give you your middle measurement. So my bracelet size is a 7 1/4. So I'm going to do probably a 5 1/4 inch length. And the fact that we're going to make them all separately and put them on, you can adjust them if you need to. So it's really forgiving. It's really not a stressful project. It takes some time. Excuse me. But it's fun time. Like it's not aggravating, you know, and frustrating. It's fun. All right, so let me give you a materials list of what you're going to need for this, and then we'll come back and get started on this. So you're going to need lots of 8/0 seed beads in the same color. So I'm using, and these are going to be stop beads. Oops, you can't see those. Okay. These are going to be stop beads, and these are what we put at the ends of all our little units here, our little strands here, and to sew them on, and then we're going to take them off. So you need lots of those. So get some size 8 seed bead. It just, you know, works out the best using an 8. You can use any size, but the 8 works out the best. And make them all the same color, and a color completely, you know, different than what you're using here, okay? So then, for our color mix, okay, so I have 3 different color mixes here. The first one, and that's going to be this bronze and purple. It's matte metallic bronze. Okay, so you're going to need matte metallic bronze, 11/0 seed beads, and then you're going to need Tanzanite 4mm fire polish. Now I know I have some amethyst mixed in with this, if you can see that, but that's okay. I'll take them apart. So this is going to be our first strand and part of the brick stitch here. Okay, so for the second strand, you're going to need metallic 11/0 metallic transparent dark lilac. Now I use this on the ring. Love. So you know the colors are coming from the ring. And then you're going to use the Pacific Opal Bicone, and I've thrown in between the, you know, on either end of the Bicone, I've put in a little seed bead, and this is marbled opaque turquoise blue, 11/0. You don't have to do that. You can put anything in. I suggest you go through your stash. This is what I did. Look at the stash of beads that I used. I love these colors, and these colors in this bag are all these colors. So, okay, so that's going to be your second, see, color of the strands, and the purple's going to go there. And then the third is going to be this mix. And what I have in the mix of 11/0 seed beads is I have matte metallic bronze, the dark lilac, transparent lilac. I have the marbled, I have all these. So I have the marbled turquoise blue. I have metallic bronze. I have, I threw in just to give it a little, just a little difference. I threw in a few opaque darkest olivine round seed beads. So these are size 11/0 seed beads, and they're sort of like a very dark green. You can use pine green. I just threw a few of them in just to give it some, give it a little green going on in there. You don't really see it, but it just looks nice together. I put in 11/0 matte copper seed beads in here. I put in some 11/0 metallic bronze, the shiny seed beads in here. Okay, so that's sort of my mix for this guy, these guys, these strands. And the fire polish I'm using is bronze. Okay, so you're also going to need an 8mm bead. I'm using a Swarovski dark, I think it's purple velvet. Love that color, it's so pretty. Okay, let's see what else we need. We need a size 10 beading needle. We need, you need some 10-pound Fireline. Now I'm going to, we're going to start with this. So at the moment you'll just be using your seed beads. So why don't you gather up your stuff, and we'll get started with the first end of the brick stitch on the tapestry bracelet. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so we're back. So we're going to start with this unit, and we're going to ladder stitch, just like we did in Day to Night, 12 beads. But in this case, we're going to change color after, you know, after each group of 4. So you remember ladder stitch. Pick two beads. So I'm going to pick up the bronze, bring those down, go up the first bead. That's right next to your stop bead. What that's going to do is it's going to seat these 2 beads, see, right next to each other. Then just go down the second bead, like so. Then you're ready for your next bead. So that's 2 beads on. Go down this bead, and then up. Hold it with your finger, with your thumb. You've got 3 beads on. Coming out of the top, go through the bottom, and then back down again. That's 4 beads. Okay, so then you want to do that with 4 of the purple, and then 4 of the mix. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here when you're done with that. Okay, so I've got my 12 seed beads on. So I have 4 of the matte metallic bronze, 4 of the lilac, and 4 of the mix. Okay, and we've ladder stitched them together, but they're very wonky. So to straighten out ladder stitch like we did in Day to Night, just take your needle, you know, just with a thread attached, and just go back through all your beads. So go up that one, go down this one, go up that one. And what that's going to do is it's going to straighten out the whole line of beads here. Oops. So just keep doing that. Come down. There. And as we go along, it's going to all straighten out anyway. It's amazing how that happens. It's like the beads need a little time to sort of settle, and then they all go into their proper little place. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I've straightened it out quite nicely. It looks much better. So now I'm just going to turn it around because, of course, my thread is coming out of this side. So here we go. So now we're going to start the brick stitch. Okay, so you know, with brick stitch, what we do is we start with 2 beads, and it's going to be that, you know, that slanted brick stitch. So we're going to make all our beads go at a slant, and I'm going to show you how to do this in the middle as well. Which is, it really is not hard. It looks like, how do you do that? But it's, you'll see, once you see it, I know I always say this, once you see you get it, and it's true, but it can be frustrating until you see it, but this is not. Okay, so you take 2 seed beads, you always take 2, you go through the second thread bridge on your piece, and we're working with the matte metallic bronze right now. Go up the second one. Come here, you. Like so. It's a little clumsy at first. Give it a little pull. Okay, so you've got your first 2 seed beads on. All right. So now, from now on, you're picking up 1 bead. So pick up 1 11-0 matte metallic bronze. Go through the next thread bridge. Give that a pull. You've got 3 on. Okay. So at this point, because we want it to slant, we're going to decrease the amount of beads we put on of each row. Okay, so eventually we're going to lose the matte metallic bronze area, and we're going, you know, the purple's going to come out, and so we're decreasing now. We're putting 1 less bead on. So instead of 4 of the matte metallic bronze, I'm putting 3, because this is going to get our slant going, and you'll see that in a second. So take a purple, go through the next thread bridge. So you get your first purple on. Let me put this right there so you can use it as a guide. So I'm going to put on 1, 2, through the next thread bridge. And just make sure I'm staying in frame here. Okay. Go up. It's 2. And you see how that's making it slant this way? Try to get my, there. It's going to be slanting like that. Okay, so put on 2. Let's put on another lilac. Three, a little tug. I'm going to put on, because I want it to keep slanting in this direction, I want to put another lilac on. So I'm putting 4 of the lilac on. Alright, there we go. So everybody's moving in this direction now. So then I'm going to do my last group, and I'm going to put on 4 of those. So here's 1, and that's the mixture. My little tail caught. Come on, little tail. Here we go. It's 1. I got this one a little tangled because of my tail, so let's redo that. Let's get him back in place. Came out. Little guy is fighting me. Come on, you little green bead. There you go. It's always tough doing the first couple of rows because you have nothing to hold on to. So that's 2. Let's pop one of these in. That's 3. As you increase, you know, as you put more rows on, it's going to get much easier to hold it. Okay, and that's number 4. Oh, put 2 gold together. That's okay. I'm all right with that. It's just how it came out. I didn't want to change it. All right, so do you see how I hold it? I'm starting to, everything's slanting like so. All right? So then turn it around to get your next row on. Okay, and of course when you turn it around, the slant goes in the opposite direction, but you always want to slant in this direction. You know, you want the slant. So if you see that you put on, like right here, let's say you put on an extra one or you put one less on, you're not going to see that slant. And you'll see it as we go along. So we're going to start with 2 beads. Go through the second thread bridge. Go up the second bead. You've got your first 2 on. Okay, and we're using the mixture here. Another one on. That's 3. And to make this slant, because we're going this way, we want to add another one. You can look at it and see that you know, you'll be able to see it when you look at it, when you're close with your beads. Okay, that's 4. All right, so do you see how my slant is? I'm still slanting, going this way. You don't want to mess up your slant. Okay, so then we're going to go with the purple. So through the next thread bridge. Two. pull. So you keep going. 3. Okay, and I want my slant to keep going this way, so I'm going to put the 4th one on. Okay, so that's going to leave me just 2 thread bridges to put on the metallic bronze. So take one, put that one through, and then your last one. Come on, you. It's fighting me a little bit. We can do this. I think it might be twisted. Okay. I know I'm going to get it. There we go. Lost my voice there for a second. All right, so here we go. Let's put this down. Do you see how that is, put on this side, is slanting? I'm going to pull in just to show you because I don't want to sew too much, zoomed in too much because, I'll get out of frame. Although maybe, I don't know. All right. So anyway, see how we're slanting? All right. So I'm going to pull out a teeny bit. Maybe I can come in just a teeny bit more for the, and I just want to show you the next row. Okay. So on the next row, so we're coming around, and then I'm going to send you off on your own. You can do this. So if you notice, I have 4 of the gray, of the metallic bronze. Then I have 3, then I have 2, and then I have 1. So I have to put 2 seed beads on to start the row, right? So I only have 1 to put on from my gray, my bronze. So I'm going to take 1 of the next color. That's the purple. Okay, so I have a bronze and a purple. I'm going to go through the 2nd thread bridge, and then up the 2nd bead, okay? And there you go. So then keep adding on your purple or your lilac or whatever you're using. 2. 3. 4. Okay, so remember you want to keep your slant. So you can see that really clearly now. So then you're going to put on your last row. That's going to be the mixture. That's 1. 2. 3. And 4. Okay, so look at that. So that's coming out just like the one above, and it's all slanting in the right direction. Now you can, to do this, if you want to just copy down, each row, put 4 this on, put 4 this on, put 3 of this, 3 of this. I think that's fine if you don't want to really learn how to do this, to where you can just do it without looking at directions. If you do it this way, then you're always going to look and you're going to say this slants and this slants. you, like I said, you know, to make it easier, you can write down each row number if you want. Now, you know, that's certainly up to you. That would probably make it easier, but I think you're going to learn more if you learn how to do this slant. Your brain is going to go to, okay, I don't want to put a purple one here because then my slant is going, I'm going to start, you know, it's going to look wonky. So you don't have to slant. You can just do all one color. You can do all mixture. You can zigzag, anything you want. So, you know, those are kind of cool things you can do with brick stitch. So keep going. I think you can finish the rest of it yourself until you have 5 seed beads left on your brick stitch piece, and we'll go from there. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so we are back. So I've got both my pieces done. They're exactly the same. All right, so I'm going to take one. I have a little longer thread on this one, so I'm going to use this one. But they're, you know, there you go. All right. So I want to put on, I'm going to put this end on right here, right now. Why not? So I'm going to take, and I'm going to count these. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 beads of my multi. I mean, and now you can make this any color you want. I'm going to just, I'm just going to sort of mix it up a little bit. 1, whoops, 2, 3, 4. I kind of like to start out with, you know, the multi part, you know, and sort of have it go, and then the purple will meet there. But that's certainly up to you. 3, 4, 5. Put that one on 6. Then I'm going to take, after I have, so I put 6 seed beads on there, so I'm going to take a metallic bronze one. You don't have to do that. I'm going to put it on before my crystal, and the crystal is an 8mm crystal. This is a Swarovski round, and it's purple velvet. 3 seed beads, 11 O's. Bring those down. Okay, skip the 3 11 O's. Come through the crystal and the 11 O beneath it. We're doing a little picot. And then put your 6 beads on. And like I said, I'm going to sort of end with a few purples. So maybe I'll do 1, 2, 3, and I'll do 3 of my purple beads. And then I'm just going to go down a few beads, like so. You know, this is, you know, does not have a definite pattern as far as, you know, sewing this in. So one of my beads is a little big there, but let's just sew this in. So there you go. So then we want to reinforce it. So just like with peyote, you're going to snake your way around. Don't let any thread show. So I'm going to let's go through this one. So I want to get up to the top, all right? Then I'm going to go through this one. Just snaking up. I'm going to go through this one. Just want to make sure you're not going to show any thread. And if you see thread showing, that means you're, you know, you're not going through the beads correctly. So just use your peyote smarts and sew it the same way you would sew peyote. So I'm just moving it around just to sort of get into position. Coming out of here, I'm going to go, let's see, can I go through that one without, let's see, yep, okay, go up, and then go up your the whole thing again, you know, the beads on the side and the beads through the top. Come down here, and then just so you can sew your thread in if you like at this point. That would be fine. You know, so at this point you'll be done with this part of the top of it. Okay, so why don't you do that, and I'll meet you back here, and we'll start putting some strands on. That'll be fun. Okay, so we're back. So I've got my little piece done, and I put the crystal on top, and now it's ready to put some strands on. So I did this many ways until I came up with a way that I felt would be the easiest and less, frustrating to do, because you're going to put 12 strands on, and you're going to have to sew them to each end. The other end we haven't put our loop on yet. We'll do that later. So this is what we're going to do. So again, as I told you in the beginning, size-wise, your clasp with the brick stitch is about 2 inches. So get your bracelet size and then subtract 2 inches and put that amount here. So I'm going to put about my strands are going to be about 5 1/4. Okay, so that's going to give me about a 7 1/4 bracelet. It's all right if it's a little big because you can just twist it. So it's very forgiving. So I tried many ways of putting these strands on, and I did one at a time. I did all kinds of stuff. So then the thing that worked out best for me is making each piece. So we've made these 2 pieces, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to add 4 strands, and let me come in just to show you this. You're going to add 4 strands of the bronze and Tanzanite, the bronze seed beads and the Tanzanite 4mm fire polish. Then you're going to do 4 strands of the dark lilac and the Pacific Opal seed beads, plus that little opaque turquoise one, which will be in the description box. 4 of those, and then you're going to put 4 of the. Anyway, you can't see that one. Let me pull this one over here. You're going to do 4 of the multicolor, and you're going to attach them on. So this is how I think you should do it. This is how I'm going to show you to do it. So because I think it works out better than making one and then attaching, one and attaching. So last night I did. Let me pull out a little bit now that I showed you that. Okay. So last night it took me about 25 minutes. I can go fast to do all 12 of them. So I think it just makes sense just to make the pieces and put them together rather than making each strand one at a time. Attach, strand, attach, strand, attach. Okay? So I'm going to give you some tips on how to make a good strand as far as, organizing the beads in a way that's pleasing. First things first, you organize them in a way that's pleasing to you. And if that means every strand the same and the beads in the same place, then that's what's important. You've got to like it. So I just, I made my strands about 5 1/4 inches, and this is how I started. And and I started with a certain amount of beads on the first strand. So I'm going to do that with you. So each strand is going to be about 1 foot. Okay, let me move these up a teeny bit. So each strand is going to be 1 foot. So thread on your needle as many feet as you can handle and feel comfortable with, because then you won't have to constantly thread your needle. You'll just cut it off at the end, you leave a little room to sew it in, and then you'll go on to the next one. So I'm just doing a small piece right now. This is actually just for one, because I want you to, I don't want to go out of frame. All right, so what I started with, and you can start with this too, and I'll tell you what, and the reason I start with a certain amount is, I think I started with this one, is when I have a starting point. So I have one piece made and I have a starting point, I can figure out where to put the next group of beads. So let me grab some of these seed beads here, and we'll just do one strand together, and then you can continue on with the rest. So what I did is I took 14 seed beads, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I took 14 of the metallic bronze. Now my metallic bronze, if you notice, they're sort of different colors, which I kind of like. But the reason they're different colors is I've mixed different dye lots together. So if you need something where you need solid, don't mix your dye lots together. These are just end lots of beads that I had. So mixing them together, I just think gives it a really good look, and it's useful. when you have a bunch of little ends. But you know, sometimes if you're making a project and you want all the beads to be the same color, make sure you get enough beads to finish that entire project. Because if you order another, you order more, you might not get the same dial out. Okay, so that's that one, right? So that's about 14 beads. I'm going to put on a fire polish. So I'm duplicating this first bead, this first one. So the next I put 12 on. So take 12. And a fire polish. Okay. I'll put this, in the instructions. In case you want to follow this, you don't have to. Okay. And then the next one I did 11. And a fire polish. Okay. So that's pretty close. And the next one I did 9. Okay. And a fire polish. And then the next one I did, let's see, that looks like about 14. I think I did 14. Eleven, 12, 13, 14. I'm just going to, like I said, I'm just going to do this first one because you don't want to watch me, whoops, put on all these seed bead rows. And this is something you can do like while you're listening to music or watching TV, or, it's not something that you really have to, it's not, this is not like really, work that you have to do a lot of calculating and stuff. I'm just doing these numbers on the first set because, I just want to, I'm going to show you how it's going to help you with your next group. So it's 11, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, fire polish. I love this combination of the bronze, the metallic bronze, and the Tanzanite, which looks really purple to me. And then 8. 7, 8. And I think that's going to come to the end of my piece. So maybe a couple, yeah, that's about right. I'll just maybe pop one more on. And then take a stop bead and put it on the end. So if you're using a long piece of thread, leave about 3 to 4 inches because you want that to sew in. You're not going to sew all that in, but you need to hold the piece, hold it to sew it in. Like if you're only going to sew in a little bit, but you can't sew in. It's very hard to sew in a 2-inch piece. All right. Okay. So here's my first. Let me pull these seed beads out of the way. I'm trying to keep my bead mat as neat as possible so you can see what I'm doing. So what I did when I started making these, so I made this one, okay, so that was going to be my outside one. I took a little piece of tape and I taped it to my bead mat. Now it's going to come off. I'm not really worried about the sequence of them because I can look, there are only 4 of them of each, of each color combination, so I can kind of play with them, like, if I put, these 2 together, maybe I want something in between those. So, it's not like you have a dozen strands of all one color and you have to sort of make sure that the beads are sort of, going in the right direction, or like, they're pleasing to the eye, that sort of thing. All right, so I did this, and then let me take let me cut my thread, and then I just want to, I wish I had a little more thread on my needle because that would have been. Let me rethread. So I'm just going to flatten out my Fireline. So we're going to make 4 of these, and with various placement of the beads to where it's pleasing to your eye. So if you start out with my my numbers, or start out with your numbers. It doesn't really matter. Just gonna pop that off. Okay, so I've got my first strand done. So when I'm working on my second, I'm going to take a seed bead, an 8/0, and I'm going to put it on. Okay. And I'm going to leave myself. So remember, you need a foot per strand, about a foot, maybe a teeny bit more, maybe 13 inches. Make sure you leave that tail because you need to. You're going to need it to sew in. So I'm just going to kind of stick that under my tape. Oh, let me move this up. Okay. And so I'm using this as a guide. I see that I can put. I'm going to bring these guys back. I see that I have 14 beads here, so maybe I'll put on 5 beads. Do a fire polish. Bring that down. And that kind of sits. I like the way that sits. You know, it's sort of. It's not quite in the middle, but it's close. And then I'm going to take just a number of seed beads. And I can see I'm probably going to need, just by looking at this. So I have them on my needle. This is such a good thing to do. I love this. So I have them on my needle. I'm just going to hold them right there because that's where they're going to go, right? So do you see what I'm doing there? I put it on the needle, put it there. Do I like where it is? When I put it close to, you know, sort of, you know, I don't. So I'm going to add a few more. And then I'm going to look again. Okay. Do I like where that's going to end up? Yeah, I like that. So then I'm going to take my fire polish, put it on. That's my next. That's where my next one's going to go. All right. So then I'm going to take a number of seed beads again. And I'm just using my previous one as a guide. So if I do that, I think I'll put a few more on. I'm not even counting them. Okay, so if I do that, that looks pretty good to me, but I think I'm going to take a couple off, just for my own. Okay, I'm sort of running out of my little purple one, so I'm just going to use a bronze one. Okay, so see? So by putting some seed beads on your needle, you can kind of hold it up to your project and see how many you're going to need, or see, you know, see what looks pretty to you. It's all about pleasing the eye, and that's something that's going to come as you keep beading. You're going to look at it and say, okay, that looks great. Okay, that looks a little bit too much, so I can take a few off. Put on a fire polish. Come on down. Okay, so you see how I'm using this as a guide? So then I would put on some more seed beads. It looks to me like that would probably be about 10 seed beads. And you can kind of judge it. I'd put them on. Just use it. So that way, and then the next one you do, use that one. Use the previous one as a guide. Okay, so you're going to put on, you know, after you're done with this, you're going to cut it off. You're going to put on another 8/0 bead. You're going to start your strand, and you'll just use this as a guide. So with this, the next one, I might make it longer, more seed beads here, and then, you know, and just do it towards pleasing to the eye, and then stick that one under the tape. And when you move them, don't worry about it if they, you know, they're no longer in sequence. You can number them, do anything you want, but I'm not worried about them going out of sequence because there are only 4 of them, as I said, and you can just put them in sequence. Okay, so do that with each seed bead combination. Okay, so the matte metallic bronze and the tanzanite, the iris purple, the transparent, matte transparent the matte transparent lilac, I'll get these, the Pacific Opal seed 4mm bicone, and that little opaque turquoise seed bead if you want to use that, and then your multicolor and your multicolor seed beads and your bronze fire polish. So make 4 of each, and then meet me back here, and then we'll attach. That'll be fun. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so we're back, and I made some tea, but I'm still losing my voice, so I'm hanging in there, hoping I can get this done before my voice goes completely. I think I'll be fine. Okay, So I have my 4 strands right here, and I'm pretty happy with how those look. They got mixed up, but I just, replaced them. So I'm going to take one strand, and I'm going to pull the stop bead off the front end. Okay, now thread your needle. Okay, with that strand. Okay, so you have it like this, and we're going to attach it to this end. Okay, sorry about that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle, you're going to go up the first couple of seed beads and pull it through. I've got here we go. You've given yourself about 4 inches to sew that in. Okay, and then just sew it in. Let's see. I'm going to go up this one, like so. I'm going to go down this one, like so. So by going up and down, changing direction, you're really getting this in tight, and go back down again. This one I didn't quite leave 4 inches, but it's okay, it's still going through. If you find that you're a little tight going down a seed bead, you can either change your needle size or just move it around a little bit. Okay, so I have my first one attached. All right, so as I go, you don't have to do this, but as I go, I'm just going to burn off the thread. Okay, so that one's done. All right, so then do that with all your pieces. Now you could either do all on this one, do it all coming out of the top of this one, or you can immediately attach that one here. So I'll show you how to do that just in case you want to do that. All right, so I've got a little thread, my tail thread coming out of here, but I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to take this off, and make sure you leave enough to sew in. You really, you don't want to leave 2 inches. This one looks a little short to me. So make sure you have your at least 13, your 13 inches to get this sewn in. But I'm not gonna, I'm gonna do it. Okay, so just do the same thing. Come up, and don't worry about the tail thread there. So I'm coming up a bead. I'm gonna come down this bead. Just gonna attach it. I'm gonna go back up. I don't want to jam these bottom ones too full. But I just want to attach it. Okay, 3. My needle is, this one was a short one. Just make sure you keep them long. Okay, 4. Let's see, go down. You're coming out of this one. You can go down this one. Go back up. I don't know. I say turn it around and go back up this one. As I said, change your needle size. If it's getting a little tight, change your needle size. Okay, so then we've got that one done. So let's give it a little measure. I haven't cut it off yet because I just want to measure it and make sure it's, it's working out for me here. Okay, so this is perfect. So I've got 7 inches. It's almost 7 inches to the end, but I haven't put my loop on yet. So that extra 1/4 inch will give me about 7 1/4. 7 1/4. So that's perfect. So if you want to do it this way, do it this way. You can sew all 12 on one, or you can do one at a time. It doesn't matter. So get those all done. It's going to take you a little bit of time, but it's fun, and it's not hard. It's just, it's not stressful or anything, which is great. Don't make them too tight. Make sure the beads aren't buckling too much. And when you're done, meet me back here, and we'll sew the little loop on, and you'll be done with your bracelet. Okay, see you in a few. Okay, I'm back for a second because I'm trying to anticipate some questions here. So I'm looking at the second one I'm going to sew on. So you see here, it looks like it's not going to fit. It's a little too long. Not a problem. put it on, when you get to it, well actually this one will fit, but let's say it was too long, just take off a couple of seed beads, that's all, to make it fit, so that it's not a big deal at all. So you know, if your strands aren't exactly right, if let's say one's a little short, add a couple of seed beads. You know, once you put it on here and it's short here, add a couple of seed beads. So you can, you know, you really can play with them when you put them on. So you won't, you know, don't worry about it if one's longer than the other or shorter. Just adjust the seed bead size. Okay, see you when you're done. Bye. Okay, so we're back. Now we have to sew the end on to the this end on. All right. So here's our bracelet. Ha ha, fooled ya. No, I know I didn't fool you a bit. I did not. Here are all my strands, but I want to get this video up. It'll probably take about, I'd say 45 minutes to get all these strands on. Maybe, you know, maybe shorter. I don't know. But I'm going to put them on, I promise. So my little empty bracelet, I just want you to get the loop on, which I know that you can just do. You don't need me to do that, but you know, I need closure on every video. You know, it's just my the way my psyche works. Okay. All right. So here's our bracelet. We're going to put our the little loop on this guy right here. Okay. So use any beads you want. I'm just going to grab, and I'm going to count these. How many I used? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Looks like I used 14. So you'll measure your you know, your piece, you know, your bead. You may have put a bit different bead on top. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Notice I can't count and talk at the same time. Okay. So I just put a certain number of beads on. I like to start and end with the bead that's on there, if I can. You know, or something close to that. So here I would end with purple and start with one of the mixture beads here. So I just put a number of beads on, depending on your clasp. You know, you know, whether you're going to you might have a different one, but I'm using the bead, the 8mm bead. So I'm just going to come down this side. Okay. My bracelet, and it kind of straightens out the beads on the side by doing this. Okay, so there's my loop, right? And then I'm going to snake and I'm just going to show you, just as you did with the other end with the bead. Snake your thread through. Remember, use your peyote skills on this brick stitch. You know, don't let any of the thread show. Go and reinforce your loop, and then just weave again and weave through so that, you know, you're changing directions a little bit, and it won't come out. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and then meet me back here and we'll look at our beautiful bracelets. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, we're done. Here's your beautiful bracelet. I just thought I'd put a couple of things out just to give you, excuse my arm there, an idea of what you can wear with this. Now, of course, I made this as a tapestry set, so here's the other earring, the pair of earrings. I love these earrings. I wear these a lot. I sort of love brick stitch. You know, I bought a ton of new great shaped beads, you know, different shapes, and I will use them. I'm just getting into the brick stitch at the moment, and it's not all going to be brick stitch. We're going back and forth. We did pearls. We're going to do some daggers. I have some daggers. I have some these cool triangular shaped beads. I've got you name it. We've got. I'm not getting every single bead that's out there because I can't afford that. But I am getting some that I think will really look nice on some projects we're going to make. So Crystal Dreams earrings. I would wear this. Look how pretty. That looks great with that. These earrings. Okay. The ring. Looks great. I wanted to make one in black and silver or charcoal gray and silver, but I just didn't think you would be able to see the see it as well as if as making it different colors. But I'm going to make one to go with these earrings, and this is a tutorial that's coming up. because I've had a few requests for it, and it's a brick stitch earring, but it's a teardrop instead, so we'll do a tutorial on it anyway because it's a little different than the others. But I think this would make a great bracelet. I do want to introduce you to the bead I'm using in the center here. It's a Swarovski Mini, and I love it. It's a real nice alternative to finding the fire polish teardrop because it's so difficult to find. So Swarovski has this mini that is, and if you're making the earrings, you don't really need a ton of them. So it's not really expensive because you're not using 50 of them. If you were making, let's say Victorian chic with them, then I'd say okay, you're getting into some money there. But as far as using 2 for a pair of earrings, it's really not bad. So I do want to make a bracelet in this one, and the final one I want to make a bracelet in is, where are you? Okay, sorry about my arm. The green one. This is the original brick stitch earring that got me back into beading that I totally love. So a bracelet in these colors would be great. And I also have, all right, let me just do one more, and then I'm going to let you go. I've got a blue that I love this earring, and I think making a cobalt blue bracelet would be really nice. So do you see how, with brick stitch, you can make all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't have to be all brick stitch. So just the ends can be brick stitch, just like, just like in Day to Night, and the rest can be, strands of beads, or, use a bunch of leaves, or use a bunch of flower beads, or any kind of bead. Use different size beads. It doesn't really matter. This is where your creativity comes in. Do what you love on this. All right, so I made it through. I'm going to go make some more tea, and I'm going to probably just relax for a little bit and not talk, and I will definitely see you on the next video. Take care. Subscribe. Check out Facebook. We have so much fun on Facebook. It's great. And love you all. Take care. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.